everybody, EchoV here! And when you make videos about the Pokemon franchise, there are some videos that you have to make, such as your 10 favorite Pokemon, and the opposite, your 10 least favorite Pokemon. But I'm not gonna make those kinds of videos just yet. I will, but now is not the time. One of these days, I swear. Instead, I'm gonna list my least favorite Pokemon of each type. Ever since the beginning, Pokemon have had types, some even being dual types. And with 900 plus Pokemon so far, there are some that I despise. So for this video, I'll be going over my least favorite Pokemon of each of the 18 types out there. Here we go! We'll be going in alphabetical order, and first up is the Bug type, with the dual entry Volbeat and Illumise. Illumise? Whatever. Yes, it's a dual entry, but honestly, these two are the exact same Pokemon, so who cares? The third generation of the series is beloved by many, and to some people, including me, this is where some of us started. And I would argue that very few Pokemon from this region are genuinely terrible. Until you see these two anyway. There is absolutely no reason for these two Pokemon to be separate since they are one and the same. And they have terrible designs, which is a shame since they're based on fireflies, one of my favorite insects. There was so much potential. They could have been Bug Fire or maybe Bug Electric. But no. These two are pure Bug type with stupid hair and are utterly pointless. The only way to fix them is if they get evolutions, but I think that would be difficult since they are one and the same thing, and if one gets an evolution, then so should the other. Seriously, these two should be the same Pokemon but with gender difference. Next is the Dark type with Purrloin. And I've never been more disappointed with a Dark type until I temporarily used this in my first playthrough of Pokemon Black. The Dark type is one of my favorite types, and whenever I use one, it serves me well. Even with a pre-Gen 4 physical special split. That is, until I was introduced to Purrloin. When I came across this thing for the first time, I was excited. An early route Dark type like Poochyena of Gen 3? Sign me up! And then I started to use one and oh Arceus, why does this thing suck? Until level 15, where it finally gets a Dark type move in Pursuit, it only has Scratch, Fury Swipes, and maybe Assist. What is this moveset and why is it so garbage? Where the hell is Bite? Oh wait, it doesn't learn it! I thought Purrloin was a Dark type. Why the hell are most of its moves normal type? And even worse, it stands on 2 legs. Yes, I am taking issue with that, don't at me. Next up is the Dragon type, and let's be real here for a sec. Game Freak has some commandments such as thou shalt always pamper Charizard and Pikachu, and thou shalt milk Gen 1 nostalgia until death do us part. There is another unwritten commandment however, and that is thou shalt never mess up the Dragon typing, and gotta be honest here real quick. It was actually quite difficult to find a Dragon Pokemon that I genuinely hated, since what could have qualified for this portion, such as Altaria and Druddigon, who easily would have been contenders for this had I existed on YouTube much earlier, but thanks to subsequent playthroughs, these two are now some of my favorites. Speaking of playthroughs however, there is one that reminded me that was always a pain in my butt, and that is Kingdra. Now truth be told, I don't really despise Kingdra. In fact, I think it actually looks pretty cool. What I do despise, however, is that every enemy Kingdra is specifically designed to ruin your day. And I've said it once, and I'll say it again. Whitney and her Miltank was never difficult, and anyone who says so has clearly never made it past her. To understand why I preach this, there are only 2 major Kingdra users, and they are Gym Leaders Claire and Juan. And the one thing they have in common is that both their Kingdra are jerks, specifically Juan's. Both of their Kingdra have insulting movesets which both serve the same purpose. Avoid all attacks and hit hard. Not to mention that they can only be faced in pre-Gen 6 games, which means that fairy types don't exist, and the only way to deal super effective damage was with uncommon dragon type moves or just force through them with literally any other typing. Like I've said before, I don't really despise Kingdra, but it's always baffling how everyone complains about a cow's supposed difficulty, but never about a seahorse's difficulty. Next up is another difficult type to find a least favorite for, and that is Electric. And while the Alolan Geodude line came super close, there is a group that I hate more. And I say group because this group are Rotom and its Appliance Forms. Only two words come to mind when describing this group. Missed Opportunity. With the Electric typing, plus whatever typing its Appliance Form takes, I can only wonder what we could have gotten instead if Game Freak hadn't thought of appliances first. Perhaps some epic elemental or something like that. But nope! It's appliances, and I hate them. Not to mention that in recent generations, Rotom just feels so shoehorned in with stuff like that annoying Rotom Dex and the not so annoying but still unnecessary Rotom phone. What's next? A Rotom... You know what? Never mind. Let's move on. Next up is the latest type, the Fairy type. And for this one, my least favorite is Aromatisse. Think of a plague doctor. It sounds mysterious, right? Would it have made for a cool Pokemon? Hell yeah! And Game Freak did, but then decided to combine it with a can dancer. Okay. Weird choice, but... Wait, there is no but. It is a weird choice, period. Now I get that Game Freak likes to combine multiple inspirations to make a single Pokemon design, and I am perfectly okay with that. But combine something ominous with something provocative and sexual, and it's a recipe for disaster. And that's exactly what Aromatisse is. Okay, fine. If Game Freak was so keen on combining these two ideas, then they should have done something like this. This would have been better than whatever the hell Aromatisse is. Next up is the Fighting type, and I know this is gonna be a bit controversial. Maybe it is, maybe it might not be. Anyway, my pick is Hitmonchan. Honestly, I really don't know why I don't like Hitmonchan. It's just something I just never liked since day one. Well, it's not because of its weird Gen 1 sprite, because really, on how people saw it, it was never a big deal to me since I never grew up in Gen 1. Maybe it's because as a kid I always preferred Hitmonlee to it, or maybe it's because of something else entirely, like maybe that anime episode where Ash gave a Primate, and coincidentally that's when Hitmonchan made its debut. Or maybe it's because it has the name Hitmonchan after Jackie Chan, which in my opinion doesn't really make sense. Either way, Hitmonchan was just a Pokemon I just never liked for some reason. I really can't explain it why, but it's here. Hitmonchan is my least favorite fighting type. I guess the world will never know. Yes, you saw that part right. I'm going 3 at once because I'll be talking about the 3 starter types, Fire, Grass, and Water. Because technically, these 3 Pokemon are the same thing. They are the Elemental Monkeys, Simisear for Fire, Simisage for Grass, and Simipour for Water. Hands down, the worst Pokemon group ever. Let me put it, if this trio never existed, absolutely nothing would change. You wanna know why? Because they're bootleg starter Pokemon. Think about it. The trio share the same type as the starter Pokemon. They can have typical starter abilities. They have the same gender ratio as a starter Pokemon, which doesn't make sense. And worst of all, they can learn the elemental pledge moves specifically for starters. While starter Pokemon are useful from start to finish, these 3 Pokemon aren't useful at all. They're all identical, they're all ugly, and who honestly cares about them? Well, apparently Japan didn't, because Simisear was last place in the 2016 polls for the most popular Pokemon. They probably never released the full results, but I am more than willing to bet that Simisage and Simipour were right next to it. And you all know how Pokemon have inspirations? Well, these three are apparently based on the three wise monkeys. You know, see, hear, and speak no evil. How? They barely represent it at all. Even when Bulbapedia picks out each individual trait that might show the resemblance, I still don't see it because they share the exact same features. If these Pokemon were deleted forever, I don't think anyone would miss them at all. Time to beat up a bird with a stone because next up is flying. And I'm gonna cheat here for a bit because my least favorite flying type and one of my least favorite Pokemon is Pelipper. So you're telling me that Game Freak finally made a pelican-based Pokemon and this is what they did. Wow. I know a lot of people like to call birds dumb, but I don't think they were talking about Pelipper in particular. But talking about Pelipper, to me anyway, this thing looks like a pelican mixed with a toilet of all things. I think it's because of its way too oversized of a beak. It stretches all the way to its backside, which is so irritating. I just wanted to fix this, please. And the cherry on top of this already horrible bird Pokemon? Its eye. Just look at it. What am I looking at? Does it have 2 pupils? 4 eyes? Come on! I know eyes are hard to draw, but really? Like that? Come on! Next up is the Ghost type, and just like Dragon, a lot of Ghost type Pokemon have pretty solid designs. But if I really had to pick one, it'd have to be Shedinja. Now while I find Shedinja and its concept interesting, being based on a cicada husk after metamorphosis, what I do hate about Shedinja is the fact that its main gimmick is that it only has 1 HP. Just 1, which makes it hard to use for a team since these days, even the AI's Pokemon are predictable thanks to the variety of moves in their moveset. If Shedinja's HP was even just 5, it might be better, but until then, a 1 HP Pokemon just isn't the one for me. Next up is the Ground type with Wormadam. Truth be told, I've always hated Wormadam, and had it not been for the Fireflies, Wormadam would have been the bug entry instead. I've always found Wormadam's cloak gimmick to be ridiculous and a waste of data because of how there's 3 of them. Mossim is definitely the better choice, hands down. It's time to cool off because next up is the Ice type. And in what might shock some of you, my least favorite is Abomasnow. Simply put, I hate Pokemon whose abilities involve weather. Most weather Pokemon are hard to use because weather is only beneficial to certain Pokemon, not all. And Hail, in my opinion, is the worst one. Also, I hate that Abomasnow has way too many weaknesses with 7. That's even more than Parasect, who only has 6. Now, to be fair, Abomasnow is the stronger Pokemon obviously, but still, to have more weaknesses than Parasect, that's still pretty embarrassing if you ask me. Plain and simple, it's time for normal. And my least favorite is one that has gotten quite a lot of love lately, and that is Castform. Now, I don't hate this thing because people say its lower half is something lewd like boobs or testicles. No. I am not a dirty-minded person, so I never saw it. Besides, Castform is a cloud, so its lower half is puffy like a cloud, which makes more sense. What I don't like about Castform is that it's a Pokemon that relies on weather, and as I discussed earlier, I don't like Pokemon with weather-based abilities. Even then, it's not a strong Pokemon, and it's a horrible reward, only getting it as a reward after rescuing the Weather Institute. Couldn't they have just given me the TMs for the weather moves instead? It would have been less insulting. Next up is Poison, and it's definitely Muck. Just Muck in general. Doesn't matter what form it takes, I just don't like Muck. It's literally a blob with eyes, and while Ditto is the exact same thing, Ditto makes more sense. Muck doesn't. Also, please stop with the Muck backwards is thing. It's very immature, just like Castform Boss and Vaporeon. Next is Psychic, and while they're not related in any way, the choice is very obvious, and they are Mr. Mime and Jynx. First off, I don't care whatever background or history they had. Ever since I was a kid who saw the anime for the first time, I never liked them. In fact, my first time seeing them, my first thoughts were, wow, are these two really Pokemon and not just people in bad costumes? I mean, seriously, in a game where I can command dinosaurs and dragons to do my every bidding, why would I ever want to command a person? I mean, yes, I've used some humanoid Pokemon before, but the difference is that they don't make me uncomfortable. They have terrible designs, they look horrible, and if I was drowning and they had to save me, I would rather just drown and die instead. Next up is the rock type, and it is Dusk Lycanroc. When Lycanroc was initially revealed back during the hype for Sun and Moon, I loved its design, and later on, I was surprised that a lot of people did like its Midnight form. I mean, Lycanroc Midnight is a werewolf. What's not to like? And as for why I don't like Dusk form, well, for one thing, evolving it is hard. Unlike the other forms who can evolve depending on the time of day, Dusk form only has a 1 hour time limit. I mean, it's easy to get around, but still, 1 hour just to evolve a Pokemon? Why not an hour and a half or something like that? And to top it off, the only way Rockruff can evolve into Dusk form is if it has the ability Own Tempo, which would be easy if it was a hidden ability or something like that, but no, it's an event-only ability, so that limits it even more. Dusk form, I love your design, but Arceus above, you are a pain to get. Because I covered the water type with the fire type, wrapping up this video is the steel type. And I know a lot of people are gonna hate me for this because this one's also popular, but it is Mawile. I'm sorry, I know it's a fan favorite, especially if it's Mega, but I just never liked Mawile. For one thing, Mawile always creeped me out due to its giant hair, mouth, thing. And yes, I know that's based on the Futakuchi Onna, which is why it has that weird mouth thing, but still, it's still creepy in my eyes. And secondly, I hate that sending it out in battle always has it facing towards you, because its mouth thing is how it attacks. Seriously, Mawile is staring into my soul. Wait, I thought Shedinja was the one supposed to steal souls. Why is it Mawile? And that's it for the video. Apologies in advance if any of these Pokemon are your favorites. Any least favorite Pokemon of each type you want to share, leave it in the comments below. Link to all of the artists in the description below. Thanks so much for watching. If it's your birthday today, then happy birthday. And I'll see you all in the next video. Bye everyone, be good to each other.